So I think mostly everyone can agree when I say Ugo for Mother of the Year after this week's chapter of Magi. I was like, yo, name one mother that made an embryo, or name one person for that matter, that made an embryo be worshipped as a king and overall have an entirety of a country or a world for that matter looking up to this embryo. Ugo for the win, baby. It's that Magi greatness time. So with this week's chapter, this is the aftermath of the entire battle between Solomon and Gyokuin Altharman. Altharman's been sealed away. King Solomon is dead. He finally passed on. And ultimately, this is the aftermath. The world has been absolutely decimated and fucked up. It is a barren wasteland. Only the underground has a little life left to it, but ultimately, the entire world got destroyed. And this is the results of war. We might have not seen the war in great detail, but ultimately, look what happened to this fucking world. It was a barren wasteland that for 1,000 years, nothing will come from it. All the animals are dead. All the plants are dead. Everything is just fucking destroyed. This is what happens when war goes down. And honestly, this chapter made me feel like fucking poor Ugo. He has to wait. Literally, the fucking entire world is looking at him, the last and final Magi. What can he do? They're looking at him for guidance, and he's not like the other people. Ugo's always been an otaku. He's always been antisocial. He doesn't know what to say, what to do. He's not like Solomon that knows exactly what to say to inspire people. He just doesn't. So this was an incredibly enormous weight on his shoulders as to what do I tell these people? Where do I go from here? And definitely, I was like, yo, the struggle that he has right now, I wouldn't be able to even, I don't know what the fuck I do. And at first he was kind of like, you know, I'm smart, guys, you know, I can try my best, I can do something, but the world was almost reverting back to what it used to be, that fucking Attack on Titan. Everyone just fears everyone, like, no, you know, it's crazy shit. And it's basically, Ugo was the only thing that's stopping everyone from going back to warring with each other until everyone dies of famine. And I think this chapter also confirms basically that Aladdin is a lot older than what he appears to be, because he told him, Ugo said, I'm sorry I've kept you in this state for so long, this embryo state, but I don't want to bring you into this fucked up world. So that confirms that Aladdin is a lot older than what he is in the series. I mean, even there's a 5-year time skip during this chapter as well, and he's still in that embryo form. So at the very least, he's quite a few years older than what he is in the series. And all the proxy talk, all of that shit when jinns would show up and tell Aladdin in the beginning of the series, like, oh, this is Solomon's proxy, or your king. And I always wondered, like, if this is his son, why are they referring to him as if he's Solomon? It all makes sense now. He basically has the same root as Solomon. Ugo using him there gained all the respect from the jinn, and it all ties together now why in our world, whenever the jinn would see him, they'd recognize him as the proxy or the reincarnation or our king from that world, my former king, because he has the same exact root as Solomon. And again, this all ties into what I think later on in the future is going to be once again a battle of father and son, with Aladdin being King Solomon's reincarnation or his proxy based on the Rook, and Sinbad with that David. This is really pushing forward that I truly believe that that's what's going to go down, and it's going to be an incredibly bad war, which kind of sets everything up. If you look at it closely, shit like this really sets it up, where with the Co-Empire and how they were offering Alibaba come to our side, slowly but surely that's going to set up a war, because if Alibaba goes with the Co, Aladdin's going to follow Alibaba at this point. This is my dude, Sinbad. I told you a long time ago, I'm not the Magi of Sindria. It makes so much sense. So this is really setting up for that. And it's like, when that war goes down, Sinbad, I don't know, bro. Also, a little bit of a reference to the beginning of the series as well, when Ugo said, I'm going to bow to you every day, and hopefully one day you will be my friend. And that goes back to the beginning when we see Ugo in the dungeon with Aladdin bowing to him, and then Aladdin said, please be my friend. It all tied up really fucking nicely. Shinobu really doing at least this part. The pacing in this chapter was really good as well. So it wasn't like none of that. I mean, we did get a 5-year time skip, but I think we don't want to see, like, you know, dozens of chapters of him trudging through this fucking wasteland trying to figure out what to do. So while the pacing is still, I guess you could consider it fast, it felt a lot more appropriate with this chapter, because again, ultimately, what you just want to see, Attack on Titan war between irrelevant ass monsters. No, let's keep on going. And one other thing I felt I got from this chapter, if you really look at it, I feel as though if anybody is truly, and I mean truly, Aladdin's father, it's really Ugo. And what I mean by that is, yeah, sure, he, you know, came from Solomon. He fucking swam out of Solomon's sack, whatever you want to say there. But I mean, when Judal hurt Aladdin, who was it that fucking went ape shit and tried to kill him immediately? It was Ugo. Who was it that sheltered him and was trying constantly to look out for him in every which way, even sending his entire body except his head to help him out? It was Ugo, who creates an entire world where this chapter basically sets up for the creation of our world. Ugo, all for Aladdin. So I feel, in my opinion, while Solomon ultimately, yeah, that's technically the father, I feel like Ugo is really his father. That's just my opinion. I feel as though it's nature versus nurture with this one. Ugo was there for him as long as he could possibly be. But this also kind of confirms as well, and kind of makes me wonder, is Ugo basically God of our world, and are we just a figment of his imagination, or is this actually real in our world as well? A lot of questions. Did he just reinvent Alma Torran with this whole mirror shit? A lot of questions, because remember, there was a lot of similarities to the structure of our world with the structure of Alma Torran, with the whole continental rift where everybody is, in that fucking dark space, and that's where the finalists are in our world. So there's a lot of similarities, and it makes me wonder, did he just duplicate our world or Alma Torran's world and call it our world? Like, there's a lot of questions that I have, and it makes me wonder as well, because again, Ugo, he couldn't send his head out of the sacred palace. He could only send his body. If somebody comes in here, and I said this before, and just, stabs him in the head, will our world go into chaos? Will the root die? There's so many questions I have regarding these things. Maybe he does what Solomon did, and he ultimately becomes the god of everything, the god of destiny, so to speak. But yet again, another good chapter of Magi this week, the aftermath. Ugo trying to overcome, ultimately, his, I guess you could say, social anxiety and his worries and fears, and slowly building up to where he needed to be. I wish he would have taken a little bit more initiative and not went straight for like, oh, Aladdin, I'm going to use Aladdin to get these people up. I wish he would have just said, I am the man that Solomon named as the strongest wizard. Listen to me. I will guide you. And I read, because, me, I love my Magi. I read this in Spanish, and there was something similar to that in the Spanish version, so I don't know which one was more legit. I think he said something along the lines of, I'm the man that Solomon said is the strongest wizard, but in the English version, it wasn't there, so I don't know about that. And ultimately, very good chapter this week. I'm going to give this one 8 out of 10. Ugo slowly building up to creating the new world, and Alma Torran is really done for. It's just really a few more chapters, and we're getting to the new world, and I'm in no rush at this particular point. We went through a lot of the big shit, and it's only a matter of time, and when we get back to the timeline again, a huge war is brewing with the Ko and Sindria, and it's going to be absolutely insane, and I can't wait to see it. Let me know what you guys think, first of all, regarding what I was talking about his father. Do you feel as though it's really Ugo? And I'm not talking about genetically. I'm talking about the man that was there, that did everything he possibly can to see that this little kid ultimately has a bright future. Also, what do you think? Do you think that it's Ugo, actually, that is the god of our world, and are we a figment of his imagination? Or are we actually, stable? If he dies, do we go into chaos and fall out of existence? And overall thoughts in the chapter. How do you feel about Ugo being the last one left, man? It was like, poor Ugo. Gotta give him Mother of the Year, though. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.